I spend a lot of time with my father. As a young child and adult, we spend many hours at his cabin fly fishing and exploring. A man's contemplation. As I see my father age and slow in his step, I find myself wondering many times what he may be thinking. This image was one I experienced out at my father's cabin. We were sitting together down by the river, just taking in the moment. I glanced over at my father, and he was just looking ahead. He was lost in thought for quite some time. During this time, I really studied his features and pondered what he was thinking. This drawing, Jeff, was one that I did recently as a demonstration in a class that I was teaching on portraiture. When doing a demonstration, as the instructor, I usually take the spot relative to the model that remains after the students have selected their position to work from. As the students typically take the prime spots, usually with more of a frontal view, I was left to do a profile. This is a vantage point rarely selected by a student. From my point of view, a profile provides a striking angle that facilitates a sensitive depiction of the model's features without the confrontation and complication of the gaze of the sitter. All types of paintings are important to help an artist grow, but the portrait is my favorite. I fall in love with my subject whenever I am painting a portrait. The first thing a baby can recognize is a human face. I am trying to tell a story through my model and their expression, pose, costume, lighting, color, and value, surroundings, and the size of the work. If I could name a painting as I would like, the title would usually be too long. I love getting inspiration from lyrics and poetry. Often an artist will choose a title which they believe will sell the work. I try to use a title which states the obvious. In this case, Hayden's Hat. I don't believe naming a piece is my greatest strength. Every painting I work on, I feel as if I'll never complete. A great teacher of mine once said, "It takes two people to complete a portrait, one artist to paint it, and someone to knock the artist over the head when it's finished. It's hard to know just when to stop." It was not vanity nor a passion for the arts that brought Tom to the model stand. He needed the cash. The $30 paycheck for 2.5 hours under the gaze of a group of artists was a welcome relief to a spotty work schedule. The nobility with which he took his chair was emphasized in contrast to his circumstance. This, as much as the arrangement of his features, is what I attempted to capture. The humble result is submitted here under the title, Tom. Silver Fox is a playful name I call my husband as he has become more distinguished. This is the first time I've been able to paint my husband. He has never been interested or patient enough to sit without a TV. I wonder what it will cost me. We enjoyed our time together. It's been a few years since we've stared into each other's eyes. Bud, the model for the painting, is a 96-year-old man, and he flirted with me for the duration of the whole painting. He was charming and witty, and very proud to be 96. While doing business in the area, Haley's father had heard about my studio and stopped by to see it. He took an interest in the portrait sculptures and asked many questions about the process. After discussing the process from start to finish, he asked me if I could do a portrait sculpture of his daughter, Haley. Naturally, I said yes, excited about the chance to create a portrait of a child, even though sculpting children is not always an easy task, as children have a short attention span and are easily bored. While posing for the portrait, I could see a little hand reaching over to help me sculpt. Haley was fascinated with the clay, so I gave her a piece of clay to create with. She began to tell me about the wonderful transformation of caterpillars into butterflies. She knew the whole process, and I could see the pride in her eyes as she described the magic of nature. I remember my own childhood fascination with the same process, pondering the wonderful metamorphosis of life and hope of a beautiful future. Like the times in one's life when they are young, like 4 going on 5.